please subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video.
Very good morning. You're watching Trading Hour on CNBC TV 18. I'm Ekta Batra and my co-anchor Prashant Nair will be joining us very soon. Well, for the markets, however, it's not turning out to be a very good session. In fact, we're sub 10,600 for the Nifty. We're down around 0.4% currently for the Nifty, and the mid-cap index is underperforming with a cut of around 1.3%. The Bank Nifty, nothing to write home about either, so we're almost 100 points lower currently for the Bank Nifty. Brent crude almost $80 per barrel, US 10-year still above 3%. So all of those macro cues still weigh on our sentiment. And besides that, we do have SBI numbers tomorrow, so that would be an important key trigger to watch out for. Separately, we have a lot of stocks in focus: Ultratech, Century Textile on account of that cement business deal. We have stocks in focus such as JP Associates, double-digit losses there, Amara Raja, along with something like an Ashok Leyland and Stride Shasun as well. All of these stocks underperforming on account of numbers. But we do have Sudarshan Sukhani joining in to talk about the technicals of the market then. Sudarshan, hi, morning. Well, fresh Monday morning, what would you recommend to your clients, Nifty as well as stocks?
Sure. Good morning again. Well, I did get we were bearish last week, and my sense was 10,600 will act as resistance. That does not seem to have happened. That's surprising, but the message the market is giving is that a very strong support level, 10,600 should have acted as support. That support is breaking so easily early morning. So the message the market is giving is that the downtrend that started last week is probably likely to continue for some time. We are in an intermediate downtrend. We are going to see lower levels, and there is no pause just now. So the trade is in the Nifty to build positional short positions. You take buy puts for June month, not May, and build short positions on the downside.
Okay. All right. Sudarshan, what are the stocks that you're looking at?
Well, then mainly the stocks, so many mid-caps are falling apart. So we start with that. MGL is Mahanagar Gas. Mahanagar Gas is making new lows for the day. I understand it's coming out with results today, and I think we can easily sell in anticipation of, probably weaker results than anticipated. So that's one short sell. NBCC is a short again. That stock was a high-flying, stock much earlier, but now it's been consistently falling, correcting, declining, breaking support levels. So these are two short sells. Just to balance it out and to not make it a very pessimistic scenario, we have UBL, which is a buy. UBL independently is on an uptrend and is probably ignoring market action. That's a good stock to be in. So buy UBL, consider going short in MGL and NBCC.
Okay, all right. We have one Twitter query for you, Sudarshan, today. Arun Nav has shares of Amtech Auto, which he's bought at 45, wants to know the view on that stock.
It is a problem. We have discussed Amtech Auto indefinitely many times in this show, in the earlier shows. I have always said that don't touch it, do not touch it, do not buy it ever, do not go bargain hunting. So now for me to tell you what to do when you have touched it, you have gone bargain hunting is a big problem. The suggestion is get out of the stock, exit, sell, whatever has happened has happened. If there is any capital depreciation, and there is, accept it, that's part of market action. Don't stay on, just sell.
Okay. All right, Sudarshan, we'll let you go on that note. Thanks very much for joining in and giving us all of those technical calls. We have some more strategies lined up this morning. Rahul Shah, Motilal Oswal is with us. Rahul, hi, morning, over to you then. Index as well as stocks.
I think good morning. I think what we've seen in last 2-3 days, what we gather from is that I think two sectors which have been underperformer and which were the performer a few days back, one is financials and metals. I think they are giving up the gains, and we've seen some sell-off on that sector. So I think one should look at make money by shorting them. So I think I have two short call from that sector. One is Hindalco. I think Hindalco, we've seen the longs unwinding as well as a fresh short built up in the stock. So this is the weakest among all the metal packs. So I think I would short Hindalco with a stop loss of 229 and target of 215. Secondly, in financials, I think in private financials, you've seen some lot of banks giving off their gains from the day's high, and I feel the best short among them is Yes Bank. So I would short Yes Bank with a stop loss of 354 and target of 332. And one buy from them is, I think, after post results, Bajaj Finance, spectacular results. We've seen a good rally. I think this rally would continue to go longer, I think, from the current level as well. So I see some longs built up in the stock. So from the current levels, one can go long with a stop loss of 2075 and target of 2180.
Okay, all right, Rahul, we're going to let you go on that note. Thanks very much for joining in and bringing us all of those strategies in the FNO space. But one big macro cue that we have been following very closely is that Brent crude is at almost $80 per barrel. But back home, we have petrol and diesel prices, which are now at all-time highs. Prashant is back from a holiday and he's back with a lot of research on what the government can possibly do when it comes to excise duty cuts and whether they have the room to do so as well. Prashant.
Thanks very much for that. I mean, I guess the short answer is no. I mean, do they have room for large amounts of excise cut? I think absolutely no, but I'll come to that later. I mean, this is a table that I have revisited over the last year and a half multiple times as oil prices at the pump have continued to rise. You know, what we essentially do is break up what you pay at the pump for both diesel and petrol into what goes into it, which is, I mean, what is the excise collection, which the center collects, or what do states collect? I mean that varies. VAT varies across states. What are dealer margins, dealer commissions like? So all of that goes into the mix. So here is essentially what diesel prices are in Delhi right now. And, you know, the last column out there is the diesel price, the past peak in diesel prices, which was in October 2014. So essentially, we are comparing October 2014 breakup compared to what the breakup is as of now. I mean, as of today. So take a look at this. So diesel prices right now, 67, almost 68 rupees a litre in Delhi. The last high was about 59 rupees a litre or so. Look at where crude oil prices are right now. They're about $80, 79 this morning. I mean, Brent. You look at the peak, the crude oil prices when diesel prices were at their high in October 2014, that was $100. So we're, I mean, still $20 lower. But what you have is the diesel prices are higher, far higher than what they were in October of 2014. Now come to the breakup. This is the excise. This is essentially what the center collects. In October 2014, it was 3.5 rupees a litre. What the government is collecting now after successive increases and one cut, I mean, one cut which happened late last year, is 15 rupees and 33 litres. So that is, what I mean, 5 times, increase, 5-time increase compared to what the center used to collect back in October of 2014. The VAT, and this varies across states, was 6.8%. This largely remains similar. I mean, actually, VAT in Delhi is 16.75%. It is 16.75%. That is rupees, so there is a small mistake. But it has not changed. VAT in Delhi has not changed. It remains 16.75. Now it was 16.75 back then. Dealer commission, 2.5 rupees. Back then it was about 1.18 rupees or so. Come to petrol prices, and this is, I mean, a similar kind of comparison. I'm going to skip the first 2 rows and come to the third row. On petrol, you essentially are centers now collecting almost 20 rupees a litre. They were collecting about 10 rupees a litre. So it's essentially doubled their collection. VAT remains 27%. That is in rupees. So that is, again, 27. The last, this particular figure is 27%. It's just a percentage, it's derived off the percentage. Dealer commission, 3.6 rupees. Earlier, it was about 1.79. So, I mean, as you can clearly see, the big reason why, even though international oil prices are about $20 lower than what they were in October 2014, the reason why what you and I pay at the pump is because the government is collecting a lot more as far as oil prices are concerned. That brings us to the question, will the government blink and cut excise duty? I mean, they cut excise on petrol and diesel by about 2 rupees a litre late last year. And they requested all state governments to follow suit by a cut in VAT as well. Only 4 states cut VAT, nobody else obliged. I think it is pretty clear that, and economists agree that because of the fiscal situation, it's very unlikely that the government has large room to cut excise duty. The number, I mean, last time they cut 2 rupees. Can they cut 2 rupees this time again on excise? It's possible. I mean, they could. Under pressure, they could blink and cut by 2 rupees. But the problem at this point is that yeah, as oil, where oil prices stand right now, and where rupee stands right now, even to get back to pre-Karnataka marketing margins, we need a hike of between 4 and 5 rupees. We need a hike right now of between 4 and 5 rupees, and we're talking about a cut of 2 rupees. So, I mean, the government really is stuck between a rock and a hard place, and I think we'll know what it does in the next couple of days. The heat definitely is on. Back to you.
Yes, absolutely. Prashant, thanks very much for that, for a complete comprehensive analysis in terms of where exactly oil prices, petrol and diesel prices stand, and why exactly we're paying much more than what we were a couple of years back. But let's concentrate on a couple of earnings now. We have Mr. VP Nandkumar, the MD and CEO of Manappuram Finance, who joins in to discuss the company's Q4 performance. Mr. Nandkumar, hi, thank you very much for joining in. If you can start by talking about your loan growth this quarter, it's been the highest that we've seen in 4 quarters. Can you break up what the gold loan growth was and non-gold loan segment?
Yeah, gold loan, first 2 quarters of last year, there was some degrowth, which was a demand impact of the previous year. Some auctions were more, and also the portfolio has gone down because of higher auctions, etc. But the demand impact is completely over during the third quarter and following quarters. Third quarter we grew, and fourth quarter also we grew. So the growth started from the third quarter onwards, and that is continuing. So on a yearly basis, the reason for degrowth is because of the degrowth during the first 2 quarters, even though the last 2 quarters we are faring as expected. The other businesses, microfinance again, which was most impacted because of the demand, there was some write-offs, etc. During the last quarter, we have reported profit, and now the collections are back to normal, somewhere around 100%. And from the write-offs also we started collecting every month. The other businesses we have grown, the demand was not much impacted there in commercial vehicles as well as home finance.
Okay, but Mr. Nandkumar, what are you expecting in terms of loan growth, say for the remaining part of the fiscal? If you could break up what you could expect in your gold segment and non-gold segments such as MFI and CV?
Yeah, the gold loan is witnessing around 2 to 3% every 2 to 4% every quarter in the collateral growth. So also the AUM also around 3-4% growth every quarter. So that may lead to, this is continuing, this may lead to around 10 to 15% growth in gold loan during the current year. That is the expectation. It is going like that. And other businesses, microfinance is completely back to normal. The dispersals are happening. And collections are 100%. So our budget is to grow to around 3,200 crores this year. Definitely we see a possibility to grow to that size. In other businesses, commercial vehicle, it already shows a steady growth. It will be continued. The business is good. Home finance, we are coming back now with a new team, etc. So overall, I expect an AUM growth of around 20% consolidated this year.
20%?
Yeah.
Okay. Just coming to your asset quality, I wanted to bring up your housing finance book, because we do understand the gross NPA spiked to almost 5% for the quarter.
See, first of all, on a consolidated book of nearly 16,000 crores, this 350 crores is a minuscule portion. Secondly, the home finance, even though minuscule, I admit there is a higher NPA level. Last year, we didn't grow the book. That also has impacted the muted growth. The second, a new team has taken place, so the NPA was little higher. It is we are bringing it down, Now the growth also has started. The quality parameters have improved. I am hopeful that in another 1 year, it will be brought down to the level of 2%. I admit that NPA was around 4.8%, but yeah, it is coming down.
Okay. What about the rest of the segments?
Rest of the segment, commercial vehicle, generally the industry is doing well. Commercial vehicle industry is doing well. All the NBFCs engaged in that business is also doing well. Our NPA level is very low. We are last 3 years we are there in that business. The NPA level is maintained around 2%, and hopefully it will be maintained somewhere around that going forward. So that business is good. Gold loan business will grow, and I expect a consolidated growth of 20% in the AUM, and I expect that will happen in the profits also.
Any plans in terms of, say, building up your portfolio via any inorganic acquisition of, say, maybe an NBFC or a portfolio?
Yeah, but that option is, we are always open to such that option. Currently, we feel like the market is generally overheated. So we are waiting, and whenever at the appropriate time, we are always open.
But which segment would that be in?
Acquisition. Home finance is one. Definitely, we are very keen to grow that book, and that we expect that shall be one of our major portfolios going forward. Then commercial vehicle, and also some niche areas. Several niche areas are coming, especially with the fintech in place, in operations, etc., etc. So several niche players are there. Any opportunity comes, we are always open.
And how would the yield hardening to almost 8% impact you? Will it probably show in the coming quarter?
Yeah, the yields will be more or less maintained at this level. Borrowing cost has gone up by 10 basis points. It was around 8.7%. It has gone to 8.8%. We are hopeful that it will be maintained well below 9%. That is our. That's where we are hopeful. Even if it is something, even if it goes 10 or 20 basis points, we are hopeful to that to pass on to the customers.
Okay, all right, Mr. Nandkumar, we're going to leave it on that note. Thanks very much for joining in and speaking to us. So that is Manappuram. They are expecting around a 20% AUM growth in the coming fiscal, and separately they are looking at inorganic options, say in terms of growing their home finance or housing finance book. As of now, we need to take a break, but up next we'll be discussing...
Sorry, just a quick thing. I mean, I heard you mentioned, and previously anchors mentioned Jaiprakash Associates, and I think I saw a flash as well. It was down about 26%. It's, it depends on what you want to look at, from the high or from the low. From the low, it's up about 10% or so. It's still down 15%, but it's down 25%. So just wanted to highlight that.
What's even more worrying is the fall that we've seen in Stride Shasun. That stock is down another 12% today. Year to date, that stock has lost 60% of its market cap.
And I saw a couple of downgrades as well.
Yes, the numbers were very disappointing. It was a 25% fall that we saw on Friday's session post numbers as well. So a lot of stocks.
You've got the market, which is down about, 30 points. The Sensex is down 60, Nifty down 30. Lots of stocks are moving around quite a bit. I mean, I was talking about Jaiprakash. It's, I think, recovered a little bit more, but still down about 14-15%. We'll come back to that story in a bit, what's happening. I mean, the company announced results over the weekend. Results actually were pretty decent compared to comparables last quarter or the previous year. But there are other issues which we'll just delve into in a bit. T. Gyanshekar of Commerce Trends Research is now joining in with some commodity insights. Gyanshekar, thanks very much. I appreciate you being here. What's top of the mind? Oil?
Yeah, oil has been in the boil, so I guess that's what is driving many other markets now. But on the speculative, positioning side, I think the market is slightly excessively long. So if it don't see some kind of follow through, there could potentially be a sell-off. But that doesn't reverse the trend. I think it's headed towards another $3 to $4 from here, which I think somewhere close to $83, $85 in Brent is the the target which the market is inclined to test in the international markets. So in the domestic markets, as of now, I think it's still a buy on dips. We're looking at possible targets close to 5,000. But one needs to clearly adhere to stop losses because markets can get quite volatile when prices are near the top.
Okay, some news coming in on the Bhushan Steel resolution where the court has refused to stay the Tata Steel takeover of Bhushan Steel, and Neeraj Singhal, remember, had sought for a stay on that particular transaction, so that hasn't come through. But anyway, so that should be positive news and maybe a relief if in case there was some amount of doubt on that. We'll get Ashmit to talk about it in just a bit as well. But Gyanashekar, totally, what would you be recommending then to clients? What are your strategies?
Well, the trade agreement or the announcement that's come from the talks is quite positive for metals, but the headwinds are in the form of a stronger dollar, and precious metals could get a little weak because of the same announcement. So I think the sell on rallies in gold and buy on dips in metals, and crude also remains a buy on dips.
Okay, all right. Gyanashekar, we'll let you go on that note. Thanks very much for joining in and taking us through those strategies. Ashmit Kumar is now with us to fill us in on the latest on the Bhushan Steel case. Ashmit, go ahead.
Well, what we understand is that as of right now, the NCLAT was hearing a petition that had been filed by one of the promoters, Neeraj Singhal of Bhushan Steel. Mind you, he's a 22% shareholder in Bhushan Steel. The contention that he had raised, the prayer essentially that he had sought is that the Tata Steel's bid to take over Bhushan Steel should be stayed by the NCLAT. The reasoning appeared to be that he believes that Tata Steel is ineligible given that there were some violations committed, alleged violations of the company in the country of United Kingdom. Now, what's critical here is that NCLAT, after hearing all the sides, has decided as of right now to issue a notice. So a notice has been issued to Tata Steel. But at the same time, what's important is that no stay has been granted. As of right now, there is nothing holding back Tata Steel from proceeding with its takeover bid as far as Bhushan Steel is concerned. So as of right now, no stay has been granted. But another important caveat to keep in mind is that what the NCLAT has done is that it has said that any execution of takeover bid by Tata Steel will be subject to further orders from the appellate tribunal. So that is something that Tata Steel perhaps could be wary of. They would have to keep this in mind that any takeover bid of Bhushan Steel will be subject to further court orders. Of course, the next key date to watch for will be May 30th. That's when the NCLAT hears this case again. But as of right now, no stay on the takeover bid of Tata Steel. But importantly, any takeover bid will be subject to further orders from the appellate tribunal.
Ashmit, thanks very much. So that's some perspective on the entire matter on Bhushan Steel and Tata Steel. As he said, anything now in this matter is subject to approval from the NCLAT. But that could, as Ashmit pointed out, make Tata Steel a little wary, but otherwise it doesn't seem to be a problem as of now. We take a very quick break here. Up next, we talk about some stocks which are reacting to earnings. Ekta earlier mentioned Stride Shasoon.